What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Robert Garcia Unfiltered. We had some very exciting fights this past weekend, starting with the ones in Florida, the DAZN fights. Conor Benn was the co-main event for Chon Zepeda. He went the distance in a 10-round fight with Rodolfo Orozco. How do you guys think he did with this being his first fight at 154?
First of all, baby, they were not exciting.
They were
No, they were not. Don't say we had some very exciting.
Okay, well, I did. Okay, in my defense, I didn't see
my
highlights. Okay.
The heavyweight was exciting because that got knocked out.
Conor Benn's fight was good too. Conor Benn's fight was good.
Nah, that Drew was tough.
Yeah,
it was an exciting fight. It wasn't like they were going back to back and shit like that. But they were fighting. Hey,
I think Conor Benn looked at 154. Well, also a year and 8 months, I think so, like 20 months.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. He's been up for so long. All this controversy about his steroids problems and all that shit. Well, obviously, it all has to affect performance, especially coming back after so long. Especially, with all this controversy, all this negative things said about him and everything. There was no way he was going to perform at his best. But he did what he had to do. He won. Good for him. I really don't know where all this is at with the positive testing and negative or whatever. I don't know where Matchroom has them. With all this other stuff, I don't get involved with that. I really don't follow whatever's going on with Conor Benn because I really don't care. But he looked good. For being out for so long, all these problems, and he was in with a tough guy. So the guy came in to fight and gave him a really good fight. It wasn't a fight where we're like, oh shit, fight of the year type of fight or anything like that. But it was a good fight. It was competitive. That guy was a game, and it became it was okay to watch.
It was good for him to go back into the ring with that fight.
Yeah, went all
That's the perfect kind of fight you would have wanted him to be in.
Yes, went a lot of rounds, and then that's what he needed. That's what he needed to get into the big fights.
Well, the fight itself, it being announced, like I don't like you said, I'm on the same thing where I don't know enough about the situation with Conor Benn and what's going on with the commission. They have different rules in the UK and stuff. I don't know if you have to be cleared over there to be able to fight. I don't know how all that stuff works. The only thing we can say and we know for sure is that Matchroom and Conor Benn and their team, they know that there was something wrong, that they were doing something that they probably shouldn't be doing by the way they announced his fight. They announced it 4 days before the event. Conor Benn, obviously, he knew he was going to fight. His opponent knew they were going to fight. They were already in Florida. They just tried to keep it try to keep it low key. They didn't want anybody to find out. They didn't want anybody to hear about it. They announced it 4 days before. If there was no problems, if he is 100% clear to fight and compete, then they would have announced it with a good amount of time. They just did it in a way to where they would get the least amount of backlash, the least amount of negative publicity. And that alone tells you that there's something there, that there's something that isn't right with Conor Benn. But
that's exactly. There's no other reason why they would announce it 3 or 4 days before. If Conor Benn knew he was fighting, they knew, and they put him in with enough time to be in the event. They just did, obviously, because of all the bad press, media, everything that they were gonna get. It, they would have announced it with a few weeks ahead of time.
I saw in a post-fight interview that he was saying that he was thinking about going back down to welterweight. Do you guys think he should stay at welterweight or stay at light middleweight?
I think it's all the same. I think it's all the same thing. I never thought Conor Benn was this this great talent. The way we always thought about like Duran Ennis, Virgil Ortiz. He was similar to them, like age, and all three of them were kind of on the rise at the same time and stuff. I never thought he was the greatest talent. He had nice knockouts against really, really old opponents and guys that were past their prime and stuff. It doesn't. I don't think it matters. I don't think he's one of the top guys either at welterweight or super welterweight. But he is a big name. He is a big draw in the UK. I think the fight that they have to look at is the Chris Eubank fight. He just came off of a good win. That'd be a huge moneymaker for them. And like I said, he's not going to be. He could become a world champion at welterweight once all the titles are vacated and stuff. But
wasn't the fight already supposed to happen, Conor Benn and Eubank?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So I think even Matchroom and his management, I don't know who his team really is. I know his trainers. The trainer came with him that one time when they came. They're, you know, really cool people. I think Matchroom and stuff, they see it similarly, because if they're looking for a fight, kind of like a, you could say kind of like a gimmick fight, like it's not he's not fighting Chris Eubank to become a world champ. It's not for a you know, undisputed, or for something with legacy. It's just a really big fight because, you know, both their dads fought, and you know what I mean. So I think, you know, I think that's the fight to make for him. That's a big money fight. I don't think he's a big player at welterweight or 154.
All right, moving forward to the main event, Chon Zepeda fought Richardson Hitchins and lost that fight unanimous decision, which adds a 4th loss to his record. What begins to happen in that stage of a fighter's career?
Another very exciting fight.
With Chon, he was already being looked at as a stepping stone when he fought Josue Vargas. Obviously, he pulled off that big upset and kind of revived his career. I think he's fought for the world title 3 times, and all 3 times came up short. I think he's you know, the last night
He's never been a champion.
Yeah, last night his opponent Richardson Hitchins, it's just an ugly style. Like, I was saying that because of I saw Richardson Hitchins fought when he fought Bausa, and he really impressed me that day. I kept saying all week and stuff how much bigger Richardson Hitchins was, and how I thought he could even stop Chon Zepeda. But he chose to play really, really safe and just go for the, you know, go for the win on points. How easy he made it look is the reason I thought that he would have been able to go for the TKO or try to make a bigger statement. He made it. He won every round, dominated the whole fight. Really, really boring, you know, way to win. And because he won every single round, you know that he could have done a little bit more. Like, he was never in danger. He was never, like, he could have done more. So I was expecting more. So I was disappointed with his performance, because I thought really, really that highly of him from his last performances, that I thought he was gonna go for the kill and try to come out with an impressive performance and make a statement. But he didn't. He chose the safe way, which I didn't like.
And that's the difference from when you have one of those fighters that is going to go out there and know he might be in a very tough fight, but you know when he's special, when he goes out there and takes care of business and does what he has to do. I think, like Pita saying, ¿cómo se llama el güey?
Richardson Hitchins.
Richardson Hitchins or whatever. Richardson. He he looked really good against Bausa. I agree with that. He looked good, but he knew he was going in there against Bausa. Now he goes in there against a guy that has fought for the title a few times, that has been very close decisions, and he played it too safe. That's the difference. He's talented. He's talented. He could still be a champion. He could still, I think there's probably at 140 there's maybe fights that he could win against champions, or but yeah, that's what he needed. He needed to go out there and make a statement and put his name there with all the 140 pounders. And he's that talented that he should have, but he didn't.
As easy as he won the fight, it shows you as easy as he won the fight. He won 12-0. I don't think anybody thinks that Chon won rounds or Richardson Hitchins was ever in any kind of danger in the fight. But because he won it so easily, he could do more. Like he cruised through the fight. He chose to cruise through the fight when he could have done more. A
similar situation with Lindolfo. Why do you think they hold back?
Well, look, it's different doing it against like a Chon Zepeda, who Chon Zepeda is one of these guys that like my dad said has a lot of experience, has fought for world titles multiple times. He upset a prospect, the way Richardson Hitchins is right now with John Bausa. But after a few rounds of him winning and where you're like, okay, like we could do this all night. You could do this all night and you're gonna win the fight. But do you want to get your name out there? Do you want to one of those star making performances? Do you want that right now or not? And sometimes it's up to the fighter where they just they just want to play it safe. Like in their head, they're like, no, I don't want to take any risk, and they just hit and worry about not getting hit. But with this kind of with how easily he won the fight, I think he could have taken more chances, and he would have. I think he would have still won every single round, but he would have done it more impressively.
Mhm.
And we've talked about it at the gym, you mentioned Lindolfo. We've talked about it, the same thing, because we've been through that. We have him in my gym, and I'm not trying to make Richardson look bad because of what he did. We have that in my gym. You just mentioned it, but there is a little extra that we know they have, but it's also in their mind, in their, I don't know, exactly how it is, but we used to have that problem early in Mikey's career too. The first few rounds, Mikey was so careful, but then he would pick it up after 4 or 5 rounds, sometimes even 6. Then in the corner we would tell Mike, you got to pick it up. Oh, yeah, don't worry, I got it, and he would. That's one thing. That's one thing that these guys need to know. And one thing that Mikey has also told guys like Lindolfo and all the other guys, that it took Mikey, 20, 21 fights, 25 fights, somewhere around there to realize and to find out, I'm the man, nobody could beat me. I could beat everybody. And nowadays, if you guys see, everybody's records, promoters are pushing the fighters a lot faster now.
Mhm.
Richardson Hitchins just has like what, 17 fights?
Yeah, I think so.
Fuck, I'm a paisa, so what? Don't laugh at me, baby. Okay,
Funny.
guess what? 16, 17 fights. Lindolfo has 16, 17 fights. Most of the world champions from the 90s and 80s and 90s, early 2000s maybe, they were not champions until they were like 30. They all had at least over 20 fights. It's obviously, Astro De La Hoya, who became champion because he was a gold medalist and stuff like that. But very, you have to be one of those very, very special ones. Nowadays, by the time they're, I'm actually working on, I talk to promoters a lot, to all kinds of promoters about all the fighters that we have. And just recently, I brought up one of our young fighters. And the promoter is asking me if by the 10th fight he could be ready for a world title. What the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Kids, 10 fights should be fighting 4 and 6 rounds, still be fighting 4 and 6 rounds, but they push him too fast. By the 10th fight, they already want him to be fighting 10 rounds against tough opponents. It's happened to us already. It's happened to us, So yeah, so I'm talking to a kid, that barely turned pro a few months ago, and they're asking me if by his 10th fight, if he's that special, if by the 10th fight he could be ready to fight for a world title. Well, that's kind of insane to think like that. We used to
into the Sharks.
we used to wait, until the past 20 fights easily to start even getting into the rankings, getting into the top, 10 in the world. It's just different the way it is right now. So, we have to also, so these kids are playing smart, but I think Richardson has a talent to become a champion. He does, he is, but he needs that little extra. We're talking about, you mentioned Lindolfo. Lindolfo's talented. Lindolfo has got power. Lindolfo's got experience.
They're in the same weight class. It's funny, they're in the same weight class.
Yeah, so they both need that extra little confidence. But they'll pick it, like Mikey says. It took me 20 some fights to know that nobody could stop me, that nobody could beat me. These guys only have 16, 17 fights. So give them 4 or 5 fights from now, they'll probably be there too. Mikey became a superstar. So these guys could do the same. Mikey played it cautious at, the first few, the first half of the fights, but then he would pick it. It's just the way it is. Nowadays, everybody expects to see so much from these kids so early. And sometimes it could affect them.
How long did it take you to realize, like, okay, I need to step it up?
Shit, by the time I was 26, by the time I thought I was supposed to step it up, I already wanted to retire.
Oh shit. You were like,
I'm out. Fuck this.
All right, moving to London to top rank fights. Zhang, I can't pronounce his name. Is Zhang? Is Zhang? Zhang had a nasty knockout against Joe Joyce. This was second time he stopped him this year. How would you guys?
The first one was the decision.
Was the decision, I think.
Second time he beats him.
I thought he stopped him.
First time.
Yeah, he stopped him.
He stopped him.
The sixth round, I believe.
Well, this one was
I just do rematch and he fucked up.
Nice.
Since the beginning, you could tell right away. Since you know, I was watching it with my dad, and my dad's like, "Oh no, this guy's gonna knock him out soon." Because you could tell right away since the bell rang. Joe Joyce just didn't have it to be in there with this guy. Where's the guy from, China or Korea?
China.
China, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first one was a doctor stoppage. I forgot about that. It was his
Oh.
eye. It was his eye.
Oh yeah, the first one was the doctor. Oh yeah, the eye or something.
So
Yeah,
how
but
would you guys describe that knockout?
it was a
Start of the
badass.
year.
This guy, this Chinese guy just came in there so confident. You know, he didn't care.
Zhang.
What's up?
Zhang.
His
Well,
name
he's
is Zhang.
Zhang.
Zane?
Zhang.
Zane.
Yeah.
Okay. Zane came in confident, positive, knowing, you know, I already beat him the first time. This time it's going to be easier. That was his mentality. And to the opposite,
Joe Joyce.
Joyce made it was worse because he was afraid. You could tell. He was worried. He was afraid. He was worried. It didn't matter what training he did, who he had in his corner. It didn't matter what. It was going to be the same results. This guy just came in, you know, to get knocked out.
He's a dangerous guy. He's 6'6", 26-1, 21 knockouts, and a southpaw. I know southpaw is a little more harder to fight. Where does he stand in the heavyweight division?
I think he could compete against any of the heavyweights. I think he could compete against any of the top ones right now. You know, there's only 2 champions.
He's in top 5. He's top 5 of the heavyweights.
He is. Like, you know, this wins have given him even more confidence, more, you know, like believe in himself. Like, fuck, I could.
The only thing is that he's 40 years old already.
Is he? Oh shit!
Yeah, he's already 40. That's the thing.
But I mean, does that?
Yeah, no, it does matter. He's up there in age already. Like any fight now could be like his. Like now, I want to say. How am I trying to describe it? Like he could have really good performance and out of nowhere, like como ustedes dicen que el viejazo, like, and he
the viejazo. Yeah.
When once you're 40, you're kind of like, could he still be performing like this? Like
it didn't go rounds, so that could also, you know, it was quick. But one fight where he goes in there to the late rounds, then yeah, like we said,
that's the thing. So he needs to compete with AJ, Tyson Fury, and Usyk ASAP. Like by the end of next year, he'll probably be done. You know what I mean? Like he, you know, a 40-year-old heavyweight, barely on his way to getting his first world title shot. That's not the best situation either.
Yeah, and he's got a chance, but he could probably, you know, he could probably get knocked out against all those guys, you know, because of his age, and they all hit.
Yeah. How would you favor him against any of those guys? I would favor him against Anthony Joshua right now, and that's it. Not against Usyk or Tyson.
If they fight next, like
right now, that guy's on a high right now. Like
that's fine. If they face each other like in their next fight, I do favor him too. I think he right now with those wins that he has, you know, now he just got such a good knockout. The way he was inside the ring, so confident, I think he does beat AJ right now. AJ's still working on it. AJ still has that problem. And you know, he's won his last couple fights, and you know, it hasn't looked bad, you know, but you know, there's still that belief that he's still working on, and it'll take him a few more wins to be where
he's not gonna get that.
Well, maybe not, but
he'll go 10 more fights and he's not gonna get that.
Well, that's so it doesn't matter when they fight.
Zhang is a bad dude.
Well, I think he probably will get a couple more wins, and that's what I think they should do with him, and they're doing it, so that's perfect. But right now, if it was their next fight, I favor Zhang.
Okay. You guys kind of answered my question. My next question was going to be, did that knockout earn him an opportunity to a world title?
Yeah, he needs to fight. He needs to fight one of the top guys. The one that Usyk has a fight coming up, but Tyson Fury is doing this circus shit where he's fighting Francis Ngannou, which is terrible. Like he has one of the world titles, and he could fight for all the titles if he wanted to, but he chooses to go fight Francis Ngannou. At least Floyd Mayweather did it once he was already retired. He wasn't the current champ facing off against Conor McGregor. He was already retired. Then looking for that kind of stuff. Tyson Fury is still the champ. If you want to go do that circus stuff, then vacate the title, let these young guys, well, not young guys with Zhang, but let these other guys fight, get their chance at a world title, you know. And he's talking about, you know, he did an interview where he said he's not even looking at fighting Usyk next after this, that he could do more fights with, you know, with John Jones and shit like that, then vacate the title and let these other guys fight for the title, because, you know, Zhang deserves a title fight, you know. Hopefully they can make that happen, you know, Zhang against Deontay Wilder, against Andy Ruiz, against whoever. It doesn't matter.
Big fights for him. They don't have to be against world champions.
There's a lot of fights. There's a lot of fights.
For him that'll be great.
With Andy.
Yeah, you always forget about Andy, but there's like 6 or 7 heavyweights right now that you can mix and match, and you'll get some great fights. Zhang is in there. Joe Joyce could still be in there. You know, Joyce, you know, he had the 2 losses against the same fighter. Maybe this guy just has his number, and if he fights somebody else, then we'll see the old Joe Joyce back. But you got Andy Ruiz, you got Deontay Wilder, obviously the 2 champs, Usyk and Fury. You got Anthony Joshua, you have Jared Anderson. There's a lot of guys right now on their way up, and I think it's a great division right now. They just got to be able to mix and match and get some of those fights in. Because guys like Frank Sanchez, they announced that he's fighting on the Canelo undercard, and you know, against, you know, opponents that you're just kind of like, okay, like he should be doing better fights. Like there's a lot of good heavyweights. They just got to mix and match them correctly.
Talking about Canelo fight, what fight, like in the undercard, what fight are you guys looking forward to see?
The undercard is, well, it's obviously Canelo versus Jermell Charlo.
Oh yeah, Barrios is fighting.
The common event is Ugas versus Barrios. Then you go to Erickson Lubin versus.
I thought it was Ramos.
No,
Ramos versus Erickson Lubin.
That's not the co-main?
No, well, I don't know. No, I'm not. I wasn't saying
the order.
Unless I did say co-main event. I think Ugas should be the co-main event. No,
I don't even know. Honestly,
I would assume Ugas is the co-main event. But then Ramos and Erickson Lubin, and then it's how do you pronounce the last name? I forget. I'm forgetting the name. Uno es Garcia y el otro es de Nayarit. Yeah, Chepe conoce al otro. I'm just blanking on his last name. But I mean, obviously Canelo versus Charlo is the fight that I'm looking forward to. The most. But aside from that one, I would say that the Erickson Lubin fight is the one I'm looking forward the most. I'm a big fan of Ramos. I think he's one of the best young guys now.
That's what I was gonna say, Pita. There's been a lot of talk about Ramos and everything. He's got a cousin or an uncle or something that also fights, right?
Yeah,
but I really never really paid too close attention to Ramos. I don't even know I don't think I've ever seen him fight, or maybe I haven't really paid attention. But there's a lot of talk about him probably being the next top 154 pounder. Is it that real?
Yeah,
he's good. You didn't see his fight on the
No le puse atención, no. I maybe watched it, but didn't.
Jesus Ramos is legit. He's a bad dude. That's why I'm looking forward to that one. I think he's been on a lot of pay-per-views, but against opponents that you're maybe like, you know, maybe he could get I think this is like his big breakout moment where he's gonna get, because Erickson Lubin has a big name. He's been around the top of the 154 weight class for a while already. I think this is the fight that Jesus Ramos needs to kind of break through. The other one I was talking about was Elijah Garcia and
Elijah from Arizona.
Elijah Garcia is a bad fucking dude. Elijah Garcia is a bad dude, but this fight is not an easy fight.
I know he's like 20.
Jose Resendiz. That's the one that Chepe dice que es de Nayarit. That kid can fight too. The whole card is probably the best card of the year in terms of from top to bottom, and what we're gonna get in terms of action. Because I don't think we're gonna get a fight like sometimes we get cards where like, oh, the name, like we get good names on the card, but you end up getting kind of boring fights or not the most exciting a fight. But with this one, I don't think there's a single fight. I don't think there's a single fight on the pay-per-view card that isn't gonna deliver. You start with Elijah Garcia and Resendiz. They're both young 154 pounders trying to make a name for themselves. They're gonna take some risks. Then you go to Ugas and Barrios. Neither one of those guys is ever in a boring fight. You go to the co-main event. I think it is the co-main event. Jesus Ramos and Erickson Lubin. they're right there, ready for a title shot. And then Canelo and Charlo, obviously. Like, I don't think there's a boring fight on the card. It's gonna be one of the best cards. One of the guys that on the undercard though that's not even gonna be on the pay-per-view, or two guys that we know is one of them that people need to keep an eye on is Justin Valoria. I believe he's like 3-0. I believe he's on the card. And then the one that Mayweather has is a Carmel Moton. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but his name's Carmel. Everybody knows him as just Carmel from the amateurs.
All right.
Yeah, so he's barely turning pro, and everybody has this big thing. Mayweather came out saying that he would put him in against Lee Wood right now, and they're hyping him up to be like the next, you could say like the next Gervonta Davis, the next Tank. He's really young though. I think he's 17, 18. He's really, really young.
Is it the light skin one?
Yes. So
Carmel,
he'll be turning pro on the event. I think he's fighting a guy that's 4-0, so he's got a good matchup. It's in Vegas, so Vegas doesn't let you get these sorry opponents in there. So that's somebody that people need to keep an eye on too. The only thing is, with all this talk of Mayweather and saying this, and he could fight Lee Wood right now, and this and that, people just gotta know how to temper the expectations. He's still a kid. Obviously we expect him to be, I've seen him fight in the amateurs, and I've heard about him for a long time. With me being, taking our amateurs to tournaments and stuff, you hear about him all the time. So he's a great amateur, and he's going to be a really, really good professional fighter, I believe. But people just got to kind of take it easy with him and let him develop into whatever he's going to be, and stop putting these crazy expectations on him. Because Mayweather's already saying, I'll put him in there with Lee Wood, and he won't be Lee Wood right now. Like in a 12-round fight, how the fuck is he going to beat Lee Wood? But, that's just part of the promotion and stuff. But those two guys, Justin Valoria is another guy. He's been to our gym and stuff. That kid's legit. He's a really, really good power punching southpaw.
Mayweather says he could fight Lee Wood in his pro debut, but he's fighting a guy with 4 fights.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So people need to
for you guys, you guys know what's going on. But for like the casual,
it's
they're
just
gonna be
promotion.
like, oh.
We understand it's just promotion and stuff. But then for the kid, it's unfair for the kid to put these kind of expectations on him that, he's gonna go in there, and by the time he's, like you said, he's 10-0, he's already gonna be he has to be fighting for a world title. If not, he's a big disappointment. Like, no, let the kid develop, let him become whatever he's gonna become, and just watch, keep an eye out for him, because I think he's legit, and he's gonna be a really, really good fighter.
All right. Earlier you mentioned Tank. There's been some rumors that he might fight Thurman next. What do you guys think about that? At a catch weight, 145.
The catch weight of 145 pounds. It's just a rumor going around. Leonard Ellerby also came out saying that, I believe it's Leonard Ellerby. No. It was Calvin Ford came out saying that what they're working on for Tank is going to be something huge. Is going to shake up the boxing world or something.
It won't be huge.
That's what I'm saying. So there's a few guys that would have fit that. Guys that don't have a fight right now coming up, because we can say, Devin Haney, but Devin Haney's going to fight Regis. We could say, there's guys that are available. Shakur's going to fight De Los Santos. So let's say Frank Martin, that doesn't shake up the world. That's not a huge fight. Pitbull Cruz does not shake up the world. Keith Thurman does not shake up the world. It's cool. Like, we'll watch it, but I mean, Lomachenko maybe. Lomachenko is the only one that I thought about that doesn't have a fight right now lined up. That if they were to do that, that would be huge. It would be a huge pay-per-view fight. I believe that's the only one that I think fits that category where you're like, oh shit, that's cool, because Pitbull Cruz would be terrible. That's a terrible matchup. Frank Martin would be a good fight, not a pay-per-view, and then Keith Thurman would be a pay-per-view fight.
I think they'll do Pitbull Cruz, because it's a rematch. A lot of people thought Pitbull Cruz won the first one, so they're but a lot of people do, and especially Mexicans. Mexicans, really support Pitbull Cruz. So it might not even be that. It won't be a good fight, or maybe Tank could destroy him. Especially Pitbull didn't look too good in his last performance, but I think it will sell. I think it will do good.
Yeah, I'm talking about the fight itself, like Tank versus Pitbull. There's nobody's asking for that fight. Nobody's like, I can't wait till Pitbull fights Tank again. That's not a huge fight. It's not something that people are clamoring for. Keith Thurman, like I was saying, him versus Keith Thurman is okay. That's gonna be a big pay-per-view fight. They both have a good name. Keith Thurman has fought like once in the past 4 years. Like what do we like? How is that what's gonna shake up but whatever, hopefully it's the best option out of the other ones, I think. Frank Martin would probably be a really good fight. Him against Tank, that'd be a good fight. But after Frank Martin's last performance, I don't think he can hang in there with Tank. So, Thurman, fuck it, let's do it.
That'd be a good fight. And last but not least, Bam and Sonny Edwards had their first press conference earlier this week. Tell us how that went.
I wasn't there, so I don't know how it went, but yeah, I don't do press conferences.
Didn't go. Nah, we didn't go. They flew out Bam +1 and his dad wanted to go with us.
The dad wanted to go, wanted to take that trip with his son, so I allowed it. They it looks like everything was cool. They were playing games and playing, I don't think I was expecting Sonny to be, loud, talk shit like he normally does. But it looks like he didn't. It was like they became friends. They from what Bam told us is that Sonny actually went out to him. I respect you. It's all part of the show, this and that. So it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool press conference.
Yeah, the Sonny Edwards he's the one that's going to be promoting the fight, because you see it on social media where he talks about it, where he says he said that after the press conference he didn't see I didn't see too much confidence in Bam, or he'll complain that he's the only one promoting the fight. When has Bam ever
he never talked
on social media? When has he ever promoted a fight? Bam is a fighter, and that's it. Bam's gonna go in there and he's gonna train his ass off, and he's gonna go in there and beat Sonny Edwards, but he's not gonna talk about it beforehand. He's not gonna cause any scenes. We expected Sonny to do that at the press conference and stuff, and he didn't. He chose to go, the
friends.
Keep it cool, and they played ping pong. He went and said what's up to Bam instead of doing that, which is a little bit different. It's not the way he usually is. Bam was exactly the same way he always is. Sonny's the one that is a little bit different. So I don't know what that means. Obviously he's a great fighter anyway, so it's gonna be a great fight no matter what. Neither one of them is gonna go in there with a different mentality now, like, oh, you know what, he's my friend now, so Bam, I'm not gonna try to whoop his ass. Bam's still gonna try to whoop his ass. So, and Sonny Edwards the same thing. So I don't know. It's press conferences and face-offs and stuff like that. They don't really mean shit.
And then tickets just went on sale for that fight too, right?
Tickets just went on sale last week. They had an early release Matchroom. If you were signed into their pre-sale, they sent you a pre-sale code, and you were able to buy them. And then I believe on Friday they went on sale to the public, Thursday or Friday. So tickets are on sale now, December 16th in Glendale, Arizona. Sonny Edwards and Bam, for the unified. I think it's the number 1 versus the number 2 in the division. People keep saying, oh, Rey Martinez and this and that. All I have to tell people is, how long has Rey Martinez, has the WBA champ, I even forget his name because he's so irrelevant in the division. How long have those guys been at 112 pounds compared to how long Bam has been there, and how many times have they unified? How many world champs have they beat in their title reigns and stuff? And that just tells you alone that those guys aren't serious the way Bam and Sonny Edwards is. Sonny Edwards has been looking for the Rey Martinez fight for so long, and he wasn't able to get it. Bam comes down to the division, wins a world title, next fight right away, unification fight. And if Bam has the option, his next fight right away will be against Rey Martinez. And if Rey Martinez doesn't want it, straight to the next division or whatever, because Rey Martinez and the WBA champ, they don't seem like they want to fight the other world champs in the division. So Bam and Sonny Edwards got to do it. So for that reasoning, they're number 1, number 2 in the division. There's nobody else. It's them two, and they should be for the Ring magazine hopefully as well.
Do you think that Rey Martinez would want to fight them for a unification?
Yeah, I think Rey Martinez will fight him. I'm not saying he won't, but I believe he's just waiting for him and his team. We've heard, from his team and stuff that, for him to fight Bam, it's gonna take X amount of money, and you're just like, okay, that's then that's just you pricing yourself out of a fight. You're not gonna get that much money for a fight against Bam. We've heard that already. You've heard it directly from his team. We've heard it from different people and stuff where, for him to fight Bam one day, it's going to take this amount of money. I'm sure he did the same thing to Sonny Edwards. Sonny Edwards is looking for the fight. He wants the fight. He wanted to fight whoever was of any of the champs just to show that he's the best. Bam did the same thing. Rey Martinez isn't looking to do that. He's looking to make the biggest amount of money for one of those fights. And, if I win, fuck it, I'll win. But if not, then, at least I got my big payday, because that's what comes out whenever you bring Rey Martinez up is, no, it's going to take this amount of money. Okay, well.
Bam and Sonny are the ones taking risks.
They're the ones that are really, really serious about about becoming world champs, because in the small weight classes it's different. It's not the same as 140. It's not the same as welterweight or 135 or these glamour divisions. In the small weight classes, what you have to do is you have to beat the other world champs. You have to really, really build your legacy to be able to start making those big paydays. Chocolatito fought Gallo Estrada, for like his second defense of one of his titles, or you know what I mean? Like Gallo Estrada was a mandatory for him, and they fought for probably $30,000 at the LA Sports Arena. And they didn't start to see real money until, years after they were already world champs. That's just the way the small divisions are. The small divisions, you kind of have to prove yourself a little bit younger. You have to be the top guy at the small divisions to make that kind of money. At 135 right now, you got like 10 guys probably making six figures. There's a lot of guys making that kind of money. And the small divisions, there's probably like 3 of them, and you have to be fighting the other guys to be able to make that kind of money. So Sonny Edwards and Bam are the ones that are leading the way and taking over where Chocolatito, Gallo, and all these guys left off. They're the young guys, and they understand what it is. They have to fight those kind of guys to be able to make that kind of money and to become the Chocolatitos and stuff, where they made millions of dollars in their career. But you have to beat all the other guys to do that. You can't just Rey Martinez be like, oh no, I have a title, so it's going to take you this amount of money for me to fight you. Then okay, then go be on the undercard of Bam again. That's what it is.
Why do you think there's such a big gap in between those weight classes to make that type of money?
I don't know. I think the small weight classes are just as
It's
talented,
more exciting.
as exciting. The fights are great. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, the general
Yeah,
public
but it has a lot to do with what attention they're bringing. Let's just be real. The heavyweights, the welterweights, the bigger weight classes are the ones that the world hears about, the world knows. A lot of it has to do with the media and all the boxing channels and media and everything. They always bring up the bigger weight classes. So the smaller weight classes, the flyweights, the 108 pounders, those sometimes they're the best fights to watch.
Yeah, and that's what doesn't make sense.
Bring a lot of attention. People don't want to watch. So obviously it's just like any other thing. There's a lot of people complaining about, why doesn't this sport, or make more money? Well, it's because people don't pay to watch. People don't watch. So that's just the way it is. The smaller weight classes don't get that attention. We're good to have somebody like Chocolatito Gonzalez and Gallo Estrada that put it up there. We had Carvajal and Chiquita Gonzalez, but that was 20 plus years ago, 30 years ago. We the latest was Chocolatito and Gallo, who started fighting each other, and the prices are a lot better. They're not even close to what the higher weight classes make. Not even, but they are getting paid well. They are doing okay, but it's not even compared yet. A lot better, but not compared. Just because
that's what doesn't make sense, is that you said all the media and stuff, they push the other weight classes and stuff, and sometimes the smaller weight class, Chocolatito, if you talk about like this past generation of fighters, I'm not talking about this new one, like the young guys, Bam and all these guys, in New Way and these guys, the last generation, you got Mayweather, Pacquiao, the top guys, and Chocolatito's in the top 5 of that whole generation, but he never got paid. He never got the attention that he should have. He never got paid what he deserved to make, because his fights were some of the best fights. Like, he had some of the best fights. He had great performances against other great world champs, but for whatever reason it is, I don't understand it, the media doesn't push it as much. The general public doesn't get behind it as much. Like, what does it matter what size these guys are? These guys are putting on great fights. I don't care if they're sometimes the heavyweight fights, how boring were the Klitschko's? They were boring as shit. All they do is just jab and hold. And they're making huge money because they're heavyweights, but then you got the smaller weight class guys who are putting on great performance, and the public just doesn't seem to gravitate towards it the way they do to the big divisions. But I don't understand why, but hopefully that changes.
The media has to do something. I got some work to do, you guys.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Do you guys have any? Oh, what happened?
That's just the way boxing is. It's just there's nothing we could do. It's just we just got to prepare our fighters to win and keep winning. In Norway right now, he's got a whole country behind him, and he's turning into US where people are tuning in also. But he's already at 122. Nobody even knew who he was when he was champion at 108, 112. Nobody knew who he was. honestly,
You had to be a hardcore fan to know who Inoue was before these last couple fights, and when he came to the US that one time, and you know what I mean, like you had to really be locked into to the small weight classes and to the boxing in Japan to understand who he was. But right now, with the way Matchroom has done a great job, Matchroom did a great job with bringing in Chocolatito and Gallo and paying them what they deserved. Right now, if you compare Bam's been in 5 world title fights, 1, 2, 3, 4 world title fights. This is his 5th world title fight. What Bam is making, right, for the Bam and Sonny Edwards, let's say, I don't know what Sonny's making, but what Bam is making for this fight, it took Chocolatito to become a 4-division champ and for Bam, compared to get to the point where Bam is right now, what Bam's already making. But because of Chocolatito, that's why Bam is able to make that kind of money. It took Chocolatito and Gallo and these guys to fight to make this kind of money. But like you said, compare Bam to what Shakur Stevenson is making, or compared to, you know what I mean? It's night and day, which sucks. But hopefully, like I said, hopefully it changes a little bit.
Well, I mean, like it has been a little bit. You just mentioned
it has, but it's still a huge difference.
Still a big gap. Yeah.
It's still a huge difference.
All right. Is there anything you guys would like to touch up on before we end this one?
Yeah, we were talking about the Canelo card. This obviously that's coming up this Saturday. Make sure you guys buy the pay-per-view, support. Streaming, it doesn't help at all. Make sure you guys pay for a pay-per-view, especially one that deserves it. If it's something that doesn't deserve it, then stream away if you want. I stream fights that I don't want to pay, a pay-per-view. This whole card is going to be a great card. Everybody should tune in from the first pay-per-view fight. If Showtime does what they usually do, where they have the undercards on YouTube, tune into those. Like I said, because Carmel is a really, really good young fighter. Maybe Justin Valori is on those early prelim cards. How do you see the fight playing out? Because I'm favoring Canelo, and I think he could get the stoppage, but it's a tough one.
I think it is a tough one. I think Charlo is hungry to go prove everybody wrong and show what he really is. He's strong, he's fast, but man, it's one of those fights or business that you think, man, if they just signed Canelo to a 3-fight deal, do they, does it really? Don't they want him to make the 3rd fight? So it's one of those where everything is going to be in favoring Canelo. So a decision will favor Canelo. I think Canelo has the power to knock him out, but I still got to go from his last 2 performances. I don't think he's looked that great. I know there's talk about him being injured, training camp problems. There's been a lot, and hopefully that is because if we see Canelo come out and destroy and knock this guy out in 6-7 rounds, then I'm one of those guys that's gonna applaud and say that's what I wanted to see. But if we see one of those performances like we've seen in his last 2 fights, then it's then it's gonna be one of those where, looking towards the end of his career already, I still think he wins, especially if it goes the distance. I think he'll take that, but it's not going to be an easy fight. I think Charlo's his game to go out there and prove everybody wrong.
I feel like a fight with this magnitude, they're both going to come in with everything.
I think, and Canelo's been here, done that. He's been in a bunch of these kind of pay-per-view fights, huge fights. Charlo hasn't been in a fight of this magnitude, but because he hasn't, that's why we, what makes it so interesting. We don't know what to expect. The way he moves is the way in the second fight when he fought Brian Castaño. If he fights that way, he's gonna get Canelo a lot of trouble because he was really light on his feet. He was bouncing around. He would stop, land a 2-3 punch combination and then back to moving his feet, back to using his jab. The athleticism of Charlo is gonna be a big problem.
That's what he's gonna do. You don't think that's what
that's what they're planning on
doing. Before fight against Canelo, of course he's gonna do that. So that's why it's easy, man.
And then Canelo's not the lightest guy on his feet. He's really, really light, slow on his feet. He's not quick in and out. He's got really, really good head movement. He moves his waist real well, and he's got good defense, but it's not with his feet. And that's what's going to give him the most problems, I think, with Charlo being able to step around and bounce and use his jab and use his athleticism and explosiveness. But I just think Canelo's gonna be too strong. Whenever he is able to get him on the ropes or to be able to land punches, I think he'll be able to hurt him. And I am favoring Canelo, but it's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a really good fight. The whole card's gonna be good.
Decision or late stoppage?
I think late stoppage. I would favor a late stoppage.
I think so too. I agree.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The undercard is what I'm telling you guys, everybody's got
Oh, yeah, I'm
Elijah
excited.
Garcia and
I want to
Resendiz.
see it. Damn.
Elijah Garcia and
Especially
Resendiz.
to the kid from Arizona and the one from Arizona. Because I haven't
Two
really
kids
paid
from
attention.
Arizona. Elijah Garcia and Jesus
Oh, they're both
Ramos.
from Arizona. You're right.
Thank
Phoenix and,
you, Ramos, tío.
yeah, Elijah and
I
the
know
other one.
you've seen him, but I mean you haven't had a chance to sit down and pay attention. Like
Watch
yeah,
the fight with Joey Spencer. That one's good.
And neither with
he beat the shit.
neither with the other one. ¿Cómo se llama el otro?
Elijah Garcia.
No, el otro.
Resendiz.
No, con el que va a pelear el
Oh,
otro
Eric
de-
Lupin.
Yeah, ¿cómo se llama con el que va a pelear?
Was Jesus Ramos.
Jesus Ramos.
Jesus Ramos, yeah. I want to pay attention
Yeah.
to his.
So
Yeah, watch his fight.
this is the perfect opportunity for all those guys to make a big name for themselves. I think the one I'm least looking forward to is Ugas and Barrios, because we've seen Barrios in a lot of big fights, but he always comes up short. You know, I like Mario Barrios and I hope he's able to pull it off. But these young guys I think they're gonna put on great performances.
Yeah, but him versus Ugas is actually a pretty close fight either, because Ugas is not very young.
Yeah, Ugas is older too, hopefully. But I'm just not. I'm looking forward to the two fights of the two young guys at 154 putting on a great performance. I think both guys have a lot to prove and in both fights. So those are the ones I'm looking forward to.
But I think Barrios is going to go out there and make that fight be exciting. I think Barrios
You're picking Barrios in an upset.
Huh?
Are you picking Barrios to pull off the upset?
Already, I think Barrios upsets Ugas and he's going to go out there and put his name out there for another big fight.
I'll be rooting for Jesus Ramos to win. Obviously Canelo, Mario Barrios, and then Elijah Garcia and Resendiz. I can't favor one or the other. I just hope it's a great fight. Both guys seem like they're cool guys and stuff, and I'll be rooting for both of them. But I got Jesus Ramos, I got Mario Barrios, and Canelo.
I'm with you. I have the same people winning.
I like Mario Barrios.
All right. Well, that was it, you guys. Stay tuned for next week. We're going to be obviously talking about this undercard as well. And yeah, anything else?
That's it. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Stay tuned.